This is the JGH X5 Ultra electric scooter. It's got twin 1600 watt motors for a total of 3200 watts. Now it's one of the fastest accelerating and highest top speed scooters that I've tested to date. Now in today's video, we're going to go over all the features and the specs to know exactly what we're working with, and then I'm going to take you out for a ride. We're going to test out the performance in all sorts of different situations and of course get those range results to see how well it does in the real world. Now the OEM says we can hit 45 miles an hour on this baby, but can we really? Well, stick around because that's just one of the many things we're going to find out in today's video. Let's go ahead and get started. Right now, the X5 Ultra normally sells for $1,399, but it's on sale right now for under $1,000. Now, there's only one color option, and you definitely won't lose it in a parking lot because, well, it's bright orange. Now, it comes with free shipping and a 1-year warranty on most of the scooter parts. Now, they do have a link to their warranty policy that details exactly what's covered and for how long. Now you also get a 14-day return policy, but that's only if the scooter is unused. The only exceptions for a used scooter are shipping damage and of course if it's a defective unit. Now as far as assembly, this baby was pretty much assembled in the box. The only thing that I had to do was one screw right here. I had to put the handlebars and the screen on the stem, screw it in, and pump up the tires to 50 PSI and charge the battery, and I was ready to ride. It's really that simple. Now the JGH X5 Ultra has not only one, but two 1600 watt motors. Now that's a total of 3200 watts. Now I wasn't sure if that was rated power or peak power, so I went and looked on the motor, and the motor says 52 volt, 1600 watts. Either way, that's a lot of power, and I can't wait to show you how fast this thing goes. For a battery, this thing has a 52 volt, 20.8 amp hour lithium ion battery. Now they say this will get us a range of up to 35 to 40 miles on a single charge, but we all know that is going to be in single motor and speed mode 1, riding on flat grounds and being 180 pounds. Well, none of that is going to be happening today. I'm a little over 200 pounds. I'm going to be riding in dual motor and I'm going to be riding in speed mode 3. So at the end of the video, I'm going to give you real range results to see if you ride this thing balls to the wall, what kind of range are you going to get? So stick around for the range results later in the video. For tires, we have 10-inch by 3-inch wide pneumatic tubeless tires, and they have some pretty nice tread on them. Easily be able to ride these on the road and maybe even some off-road conditions, which we'll test out. Now for fenders, we have front and rear, nice hard plastic fenders, which should keep the elements off your feet when you're riding. And for suspension, we have adjustable spring suspension in the front and in the rear, which is pretty standard on most electric scooters these days. Now for brakes, we have both front and rear mechanical disc brakes, and they seem to work pretty well. But stick around because in just a few minutes, I'm going to be doing a high-speed brake test to see how well they can slow us down. For lighting, we have a bright front LED headlight, a rear taillight, and left and right blinkers. Now, one of my favorite features of the scooter has to be these bright orange deck lights. When you're riding at night, it gives you a nice big orange aura around the scooter that looks really cool. One thing I want to add is that the frame of this scooter is made out of forged aluminum, which means it's going to be lightweight, but also strong at the same time. Now, the scooter does fold, and you just unscrew this little wheel up front, and it allows the stem to fold down. The problem is there's no latch or anything on here to be able to latch it to the scooter so you can pick it up by the stem. Unfortunately, you're going to have to be real careful when you let it down, and I would pick it up from back here and right here. Now it comes in at just 70 pounds, which really isn't bad for a scooter of this size. All right, so up in the cockpit, things are very simple. Now earlier when I was talking about assembly, this right here is the only screw you got to put in to get the handlebars and the screen onto the top of the stem, and that's all you got to do. Now over on the left side, we have our grip, which is, it's an okay grip. It's about 110 degrees out here today. I'm not sure if you can see the sweat on my hands, but I got about medium grip. They could be better, but they're not the worst that I've tested. We got a mechanical disc brake. We have our on and off switch for our headlights, taillights, and deck lights. We have a left and right blinker and our horn. Now over on the right side, very simple, just a mechanical disc brake and our half twist throttle. Now this is something you're going to find on a lot of e-bikes and just a few scooters out there. I'm not really a big fan of the half twist throttle, and I'll tell you why when we go out on a ride. Now here in the center is our LED display. Now they do give you 3 NFC cards that if you want to use the NFC, you can. I'm just not a big fan of the NFC, so I turned that feature off. I turned it on by just holding down the power button over here on the left, and now the screen is on. You're probably not going to be able to see it, but you have your speed in the middle, your speed mode right here, you have your odometer and trip information over here, battery level, and then the different modes you're in. Right now I'm in sport mode. Now if you want to switch from 1 to 3 in your gears, you're going to push this D5 button over here, and that gets you from 1 to 3. This right here, the FB4, that's going to change your motors. So when you power on the scooter, it's going to have rear motor selected. If you push this once, it'll select the front motor, and if you push it again, you have both motors enabled. And then the M3 button, that's going to go through all the different information and error codes and your voltage and things on the screen as well. Now that we know pretty much everything there is to know about the JGH X5 Ultra electric scooter, what do you say? Let's take this baby out for a ride. We're going to find out how it performs in the real world, and towards the end of the video, I'm going to have real range results from our ride today. Now keep in mind, I will be riding in dual motor in speed mode 3. I'm a little over 200 pounds, and we're going to be riding balls to the wall. So the range I'm guesstimating to be around 20 miles or so, about half of what the manufacturer says. But we're going to have to find out. So let's get going. All right, so the first thing that I like to do is a top speed test while we got full battery. I got the gear on, full face motorcycle helmet. They say 45 miles an hour. I'm in dual motor, speed mode 3, and sport mode. So let's see if we can hit 45 miles an hour. Let's go. You can hear the front wheel peeling out. 27, 35, 39, 40, 41, 42. All right, looks like 41, 42 miles an hour. Now we really don't have any wind out here today, but let's go in this direction and see if that changes things, all right? 40, 43, 44. All right, so it did give us a couple more miles an hour in this direction, so able to hit 44 miles an hour. Not too bad of a speed test. All right, so now it's time for a high-speed brake test. Going about 30 miles an hour. Let me go ahead and slam on my brakes and see what happens. Whoa! Wow. All right, well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, about 60 feet it took us to slow down from 30 miles an hour. And it did feel a little bit like the front brake was slowing me down a little bit more than the rear brake. So I kind of felt like I had a lean to me towards the front. So just be careful when you're slowing down. If you do have to slam on your brakes, make sure you lean back a little bit so you don't flip over the handlebars. Nice brake test. Now earlier I was telling you about this half twist throttle here and how I'm not a big fan of it. And the reason why is because it starts to hurt your hand after a little while, because you have to keep these two fingers holding onto the handlebars, and these fingers are the ones that twist the throttle. So if you see, in order to go, I use these fingers here to twist the throttle, and I'm only holding on with these two fingers back here. And so after a while, your hand starts to cramp up from holding on with just two fingers and having to release and turn with these other fingers. Now I know you could say, well, just turn your whole hand, but then you have to release grip on these two fingers in order to turn your whole hand, and I don't want to do that at 45 miles an hour, you know? So I wish we had a thumb throttle or a finger trigger throttle even, and those aren't my favorite either, but a nice thumb throttle here would be nice, and it wouldn't hurt your hand, and you'd be able to still hold on with all four fingers at 45 miles an hour. All right, now dual motors is great for when you want to ride fast, but if you want to go slower and have things be maneuverable without being jerked around, you're going to want to put this in single motor, and I'm going to put it in rear motor. I would not suggest to put it in the front motor only. Just do rear motor only or both, and that allows me to hit this throttle here without jerking me around, and I'm able to ride these sidewalks nice and easy without going super fast, and just kind of ease my way around If you do this in dual motor, you're gonna be hating life because it's just gonna wanna jerk you every 2 seconds. So single motor for slower speeds, just so that it's, you know, not so jerky and easy to maneuver. The throttle is really responsive as well. So, you know, sometimes there's dead spots in throttles. If I twist this, we instantly, like I can hold this at 12, 13 miles an hour and just slowly inch my way up. See how it's slowly 17, 18, 19, 20. So the throttle has responsiveness, I should say, pretty much all the way throughout the range as you twist it. It's not like on and off like some scooters are. If I give it a little twist, I get a little bit of power. If I get a lot of twist, I get a lot of power. But the throttle is really nice, actually. Even though I'm not a fan of the half grip throttle, it's not too bad. Now, how fast can I get going here in single motor? 25, 27, 28, 29, whoa, running out of road. So we're still able to hit a pretty good speed even in single motor, which is nice. Now I'll put this back in dual motor. And let's try to do the same thing on this sidewalk, but in dual motor, and you'll see how much of a pain in the butt it is. So we'll go here, whoop, whoop. It just wants to go. Going around the corner, whoa. You see how much power it wants to give? Whoa. So instead of having a jerky ride, just go into single motor and that'll do you good. All right, so here's a bunch of big rocks. So here's the suspension test. Whoa, whoa. Let's do it again. Whoa, 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 whoa. And see, that's the other danger too with having the half twist throttle, is that as you're trying to hold on while you're bumping around, you're turning that throttle, and so you're giving yourself more power as you do this with your hands. And if you had a thumb throttle, you could just not touch the thumb throttle and just ride over it. So being the fact that you have to hold on with your hands, which is the same place where your throttle is, then you end up turning it and giving yourself more power when you don't want to. So another reason why I don't like the half twist throttle. All right, so it looks like we're about 2 battery bars when we're under power. And it looks like we got 3 battery bars when we're not under power. So let me check my volts real quick. We'll hit the M3 button. It says we have 51.6 volts. And we started at 59. So we'll just keep going and see how far we can go. All right, let's go ahead and test it out in some grass real quick. Now, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have no problem because it didn't have any problem in the dirt, which, yes, I was right. I'm in dual motor right now, speed mode 3, riding in thick Florida St. Augustine grass, and it's got no problems at all. 15 miles an hour. I could probably go even faster if I wanted to, if I could go straight. But yeah, as far as grass is concerned, JGH X5 Ultra has no problems whatsoever. Going in a circle, going in a circle, going in a circle, going in a circle. That was a super fun ride. Now let's go ahead and get my pros and cons. All right, so now the moment we've all been waiting for. What kind of range do we get when we ride this thing balls to the wall in dual motor, speed mode 3, and in sport mode? Well, let's take a look at the GPS app. And it looks like today, just about what I thought. 19.72 miles is what I rode today, and I still have 2 battery bars left. So about 20 miles with 2 battery bars left. You could probably get about 25 miles riding the way that I did today out of this, which is exactly what I was thinking we were going to get, about half of what the manufacturer calls out. Now, if I was lighter in weight and I rode in single motor and rode in speed mode 1 really slow, I'd probably get close to that 35 to 40 miles, but not a bad range test. Also, our top speed today, we were able to hit 43 miles an hour. So while they say 45, again, I'm a little bit bigger than the average rider at 200 pounds, so I can't be mad at that at all. Plus, the fact that we were still able to hit 40 miles an hour with only 2 battery bars left shows me that we're really not losing much speed as the battery drains down. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at my pros and cons. What did they do well, and what do I think they could do better? I gotta hurry up here because we got storms coming, so I wanna finish this up real quick for you. So what did they do well? They did well the speed to power to price ratio. I'm not sure if you can beat it out there. The fact you can get dual 1600 1,500 watt motors, a top speed of 45 miles an hour for under $1,000. I don't know if you could beat it. So if you're on a budget and you're looking for high top speed and extreme acceleration, and of course a nice looking scooter, this might be the one you want to take a look at for sure. Now, I also think that the mechanical disc brakes did a good job. While they're not hydraulic brakes, hey, for under $1,000, what could you ask for, right? But those mechanical disc brakes stopped us from 30 miles an hour and about 50 to 60 feet. Now, I did not have the electronic braking on, so it might do a little bit better if you turn that feature on. I'm just not a big fan of the electronic braking. Now, another thing that I like about it is the suspension. Well, it's just standard spring adjustable suspension. It did a pretty good job, par for the course. I was able to go off-road, ride in dirt, ride over those big rocks, and it was pretty nice. Now, it's going to ship from the factory a little bit tighter than normal. And the reason is because when you're going that fast, you want to have the suspension tight. If you loosen the suspension and you hit a bump when you're going fast, the scooter oscillates up and down. And if you do that enough, eventually it's going to make you crash. So that's why they have the suspension nice and tight coming from the factory, because they know we're going to be going 40, 45 miles an hour, and that's the best way to have it. You're still going to get some cushion on your ride. It's just not going to be like you're on a lazy boy couch, if you know what I mean. Now, there are a few things that I do not like. Well, I guess they think they could do better. And there's two things. One of them is the kickstand. The kickstand is too short and it's flimsy. If I just move the scooter a little bit, you can see it wants to fall down, and that's because the kickstand is just flimsy. So replace the kickstand with something a little beefier and a little longer. Also, it does fold, but the fact that it doesn't have any kind of a latch here so that you can latch it to the tail and pick it up by the stem, it's kind of a con, because it's not easy to lift it now and put it in your vehicle. And once you get it in the vehicle, because the stem is not attached to the tail, the body of the scooter falls over and the stem kind of sticks up in the air. And that creates like a twisting. And I'm not sure if that's good for the hinge. So I wish they would put a latch here so that we could pick it up by the stem. And of course, when it's in the vehicle, it will stay together and not do that twisting thing. But are those deal breakers? No, not at all. The scooter performs very well. Of course, you could get a new kickstand for it, and you can't really fix the latch issue, but it's not a deal breaker, especially for under $1,000. So if you have any questions or comments about the JGH X5 Ultra, please leave them below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Also, if you want to go ahead and purchase one of these, I'm going to leave a link down there for you. It is an affiliate link that helps out my channel, but doesn't cost you a penny more. Well, for the JGH X5 Ultra electric scooter and HobartsReviews.com, my name is Hobart. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to try to get out of this thunderstorm, and we'll see you on the next ride.